April 28th, 1982. Every speech, every seminar that I do, I start with a story. April 28th, 1982, I was broke, I was divorced, and I was angry. I was sneaking out of my apartment in the middle of the night, packing my every earthly possession into my 1973 buy here, pay here car. Here I was, broke, divorced, my credit was ruined, sneaking out of my apartment 3 days before the rent was due. Tied the mattresses up on top of the roof, all wrapped up in plastic. That car was a 1973 Lincoln Continental. It was 25 feet long. You could not see the hood ornament in the fog. Big ass car. As I drove up I-75 that night, I made several decisions. Decision number one, I will be a success. Ladies, gentlemen, success is a conscious, top-of-the-mind thought process. Here I was, 35 years old, starting over again. My life had been a series of successes and failures. I made a decision that night that I would be a sustained success, that I would be everything I was capable of being. I'm not saying the people in this room are not successful. You are successful. But the challenge is, are you as successful as you are capable of being? Are you operating at your best level? Are you getting all you can get? Are you being all you can be? And the answer is no. There isn't a man nor a woman in this room doing the best job you can possibly do. Because the moment you believe you're doing the best job you can do, you're getting all you can possibly get. You've got to believe you can do more, be more, have more, stretch farther. There is more. And that drove me. I will be a success. Not just a flash, but a sustained success. And the second decision I made that night is I will study my profession as surely as if I were studying for a master's degree in any other profession. One thing I knew, I had been a very successful salesman in car dealerships previously. This wasn't like I was just starting over. I made a decision that I was going to be a sustained success. I had been a very successful car salesman. When I got to Atlanta, where I'd never been before, drove all night, I read every book, I attended every seminar, I modeled myself after the most successful people I could find, and I got rid of the losers, the whiners, the wimps, the criminals, and the has-beens out of my life. When I became a salesman, I became a manager, and I set records that are still recognized in the industry. I got rid of bad people. And that's one of the biggest faults we have in dealerships today. We keep people that should be gone. Make sense?
Absolutely.
If you look at the book in front of you, the story's in the book. It's kind of interesting because I blew into town with $400 to my name and was a millionaire within 5 years. This book is unique. I wrote this book, you look at the very first page. The very first page of this book is my federal copyright, dated 2005. I have updated this book 5 or 6 times since I wrote the original. I have replaced pages and sent them to my printer and rewritten the book. The book is up to date. And I'm the only person I know that actually put their copyright in the book, because this material is that unique. And one thing I want you to notice about this book, it is a textbook. It is not a workbook. There's no fill in the blanks, Andre. The whole thing is a textbook. So in other words, you can take my material, excuse me, and you will notice that all of the word tracks are written out in length, because the words you say to people are your toolbox. The words you say, the way you say things to consumers. And I'm going to talk about how to close F&I, how to sell. If words are your toolbox, and I'm not talking about memorization, I'm talking about conversation. We're going to have a lot of information coming at you very quickly here in just a moment. And when that information starts to come at you, let's get on page 2, the table of contents. We're going to be covering the seminar goals, why you're here, getting the most out of the program, menu selling. At 2010 NADA convention, I was doing a workshop and I made a statement that if I had an F&I manager that refused to use the menu, I would have to terminate them without prejudice. The menu is not the only way to sell F&I, but it's the only way to fully disclose and legally cause the provider to present all of the information. Because frankly, when I sold F&I, there were certain kinds of customers I chickened out. Remember, most F&I is not sold because we chickened out, not because the customer said no. Does that make sense to you? So, menu selling, I'm going to spend a lot of time on that. Why it works, the psychology of the menu. How many people are selling Gap? Okay. Gap is your most valuable product. It has more benefit to the consumer even than the service contract. Gap has more benefit to the consumer. Your average Gap claim in Florida today is over $7,500. And I've got some word tracks for selling Gap that are going to absolutely blow you away. Things that are not taught elsewhere. So many F&I schools are, well, it gives you peace of mind. Okay, beyond peace of mind, I'll be interviewing an F&I manager. Well, tell me, why would you buy this product? Well, it gives you peace of mind. Well, give me another reason. Well, did I say peace of mind already? Yes, you did. So we're going to talk about why you would sell the product. Now, I'm not going to spend any time on credit insurance. Credit insurance has probably gone away in most states. Anybody selling credit insurance? No, I didn't think so. How many people are selling road hazard coverage? Tire and wheel? Good. We're going to talk about managing rate profit. Now, honestly, I've been predicting for years that rate profit was going to go away. I was expecting years ago for some federal agency to start putting so much pressure on the providers that we no longer participate, in the rate sharing. But it hasn't happened yet. But I would welcome a flat rate, because the flat rate would give you profit on people you don't make any money on today, and it would average it out, and it would spend a whole lot less time discussing rate in the F&I office. And I suspect we would probably make a better income in the F&I office if there were a flat rate. But it'd have to be a fair amount, $400 or $500 per contract on the flat. One of the things I'm going to talk about today is the thing that brought me to the national forefront, the consumer credit counseling interview. This is a lost art. With 60% of our consumers or thereabouts, and I hate people that quote statistics of 35.8%. No, but somewhere around 60% of consumers have some credit issue. Whether it's below 600 or they've got something on their bureau that is an issue. When I spoke at the first NADA convention, which was 1987, that year, I talked about the consumer credit counseling interview. And I received the highest grades any speaker had ever received at the NADA convention up until that time. Not because I was so brilliant, but because my material was so fresh and new and had never been discussed before. It was the quality of the material that got me that grade. The consumer credit counseling interview is something that most F&I people do not know how to do. It's a lost art, but it puts the consumer in the right frame of mind and you gather information. How many people in this room are involved in the callback? A couple of you. So in other words, when you get a turn down in dealer tracker route 1, how many of you are picking up a phone and calling the banker direct? Okay. I'm going to talk about what to say, why to say it, how to talk bankers' language to get that deal approved. Because that is a lost art. We're throwing it in dealer track. We're not studying the paper before we throw it in. Why would you submit a deal with a 100% chance of turn down, when you could interview the customer and structure that deal a little differently and have a much better percentage of a possibility of closing the deal? Does that make sense to you? So I'm going to talk about how to do that. I'm going to talk about how to change the customer's credit score within 24 hours. That is not always possible. But in many instances, within 24 hours, I can change some aspects of the customer's credit score. So we're going to talk about how to do that, how to make that work. You know, the consumer credit counseling interview, the most powerful tool that I use in F&I. The ability to get in front of the customer, discuss their credit with them, and it also, you know, feelings is very important. When you've got a credit distressed customer and they don't know why you're doing what you do, if you explain it in a credit interview, much more effective.